Should the West be suspicious of Islam? That's the question being asked at the Oxford Union. This debate got so ridiculous that I had to make this video.
So who is Islamist violence actually killing? Not the West, it's Muslims. 91% of everyone killed by Islamist terrorism is Muslim. The Taliban has killed 69,000 people, ISIS 58,000, Boko Haram 25,000 people. All of them nearly Muslim, killed by men who call themselves the only true Muslims on earth. For 20 years, the West has pointed at the body count and blamed the corpses for suspicion.
So we're going to mention all of the bad Islamists, but not Hamas, right? Because Hamas doesn't do these things, guys.
معلش بدي اقول لك بشكل واضح، احنا اسمنا شعب الشهداء وبنفخر ان نقدم شهداء.
كل الاراضي الفلسطينيه يعني زوال اسرائيل؟
طبعا. وجود اسرائيل غير منطقي. وجود اسرائيل هو اللي بخلق كل هذه الالام والعذابات والدموع والدماء، هي اسرائيل مش احنا. احنا ضحيه الاحتلال، نقطه واخر السطر. لذلك ما حدا يلومنا، احنا شو اللي بنعمله. في 7 اكتوبر، في 10 اكتوبر، في مليون اكتوبر، احنا اللي بنعمله مبرر. It is just.
Guys, that was just the spokesperson. It doesn't have anything to do with religion.
كانت يعني المجاهد عبد الله البرغوثي اتقن صناعه الجيتار واحترف يعني صناعتها بشكل ان كانت النتائج يعني اذهلت الجميع في تلك الفتره. البدايه ان يكون اكثر، لكن 3 قتلى قلت الحمد لله. الحمد لله أنه يعني صدوا ضرباتنا.
The motion is not the West is right to be suspicious of jihadist ideologies, of Al-Qaeda, of ISIS, of the examples that you've presented. I, as a Muslim, and I am certain and I can assure you, as many, the vast majority of Muslims are equally as suspicious of those people, of those organizations, as anyone in this room. The motion is about the body of the teaching, the 1,400-year tradition, the faith carried by 1.9 billion people, almost all of whom could not have been further removed in their faith, in my faith, from the abhorrent crimes committed supposedly in their name. And this is the important bit that I think you all miss.
Point of information.
Yes.
So people who killed the Coptic Christians, people who killed for ISIS, were they not part of that 1.9 billion? Were they just not part of that?
They were not following the teachings of Islam, and I will get to exactly why. They were not following the teachings of Islam, and I will get to why. The motion is about Islam, not about people who claim to believe in Islam and then misrepresent and denigrate our religion.
I wonder if these people are denigrating the religion.
وأنا كل صلاة بدعي، كل صلاة إن أنا وأبوك وأخواتك بنات وأولاد كلكم تكونوا شهداء في سبيل الله. لما تجينا المنية نكون كلهتنا شهداء في سبيل الله. وأنا طبعا بفتخر في محمد، بفتخر الحمد لله، يعني أنا الحمد لله أولادي كلهم متدينين وكويسين
ما شاء الله.
وأنا الحمد لله والله أولادي وكلهيتهم لو كلهم يستشهدوا في سبيل الله أنا بكون مبسوطة. يعني أنا الحمد لله هذا الطريق بحبها. يعني بحس هذا الطريق النجاح.
Until she is ready to denounce what's in these clips, we cannot take her position seriously. We have to be suspicious because you're omitting the elephant in the room, madam.
As Peace says, a lot of the time there's not enough calling out of Muslims in the public, but it does happen. There was 500 mosques that writ an email condemning the grooming gangs, but it never really got out there. And they all done that, okay? They done that years ago. I think it's 2013. Anyway.
So let me get this straight. Your argument is that basically your whole community went out to march in support of Hamas, like the whole community was justifying what they did. To this day, a lot of them will still believe that it was all staged and that it was an Israeli psyop. So you will go to the streets for that, but then when the grooming gang information happens, you denounce it with a strongly worded email that you sent 13 years ago. That's your position on why we should not be suspicious of you.
I was working at this care home and a taxi come pulling in, okay? I noticed that one of the women was in the passenger seat. She clearly was distressed. This big fat Pakistani brother with a big black beard jumped out, opened the car door. She'd fallen over in the street. He'd picked her up, put her in the car, and he'd brought her back to the care home. He was literally in tears. He wanted my number. He wanted to go to the hospital. Why are you suspicious of these people?
Because a Pakistani man didn't SA a woman that he could, he's telling us that we should just ignore all of the crime statistics that show us how men who come from predominantly Muslim countries are far more likely to SA someone.
Who are these people to be suspicious of? Who are these people to be suspicious of, okay? Tommy is desperate to make connections between crime and Islam, especially when it comes to SA crimes. He's desperate to make this connection between the crime and Islam, even though nobody that commits these crimes says that they did it because of Islam.
Really? Nobody says it. Yeah? Never happened.
But when it comes to Muslims that do good things, NHS workers, doctors, nurses, charity care sector workers, which Islam is overrepresented in those areas, never does he want to make the connection between Muslims doing good deeds and Islam. It's only, no, I told you already. Never does he make the connection between Muslims doing good deeds and Islam. In fact, actually, when you ask these doctors, nurses, care workers, charity sector workers, why do you do it? They'll say, because my religion tells me to be a good person. My religion tells me to be in service of the people. He doesn't want to hear that. He just wants to paint this picture. You cannot serve two masters.
Which is precisely why we struggle to believe that you're doing this out of the goodness of your hearts, when the Muslim Brotherhood Manual basically says that they want you to get these good government jobs so that you can infiltrate our society and start slowly bringing your customs in so that we get used to it and just accept it. And guess what? That's exactly what's happening in a lot of countries right now, especially Western countries. I heard the police force in Britain just recently adopted a stance where they're encouraging the police officers to fast on Ramadan. Are you going to tell me that that has nothing to do with why they're actually getting these jobs?
You mentioned a verse in the Quran about prepubescent women being married. It's not true. Okay, if you knew what you were talking about, you wouldn't have said it. The word that's used for the female in the Quran is a word that's used for women. That ayah of the Quran was revealed because a man come to ask the Prophet, how do I divorce my wife if she does not have periods because she is past the age of period? She's a mature woman. That's what that was for.
This is how ridiculous it is trying to take these people seriously. The sentence before it literally talks about the women who are too old to menstruate. The one that mentions the adolescent girls is literally stating, and specifically for women who have not yet menstruated. Not yet. Not yet. Not already finished menstruating. Not yet.
The people who behead, the people who wage wars, the people who attack, and the people who stone and behead, these are not followers of Islam. The motion is about Islam.
Hamas literally does all those things.
I have just given you the exact quotation from the religious scripture upon which that person claimed to have followed. I have shown you that that is not what the verse says. Let me finish, Jail. I have shown you that that is not what the verse said. I have shown you that that is not what the teachings ascribe to us and tell us to follow. Let me finish. If somebody wants to pick out any verse from the Bible, from the Old Testament, from the Torah, any selective verse, a verse where Moses is discussed killing innocent civilians, or Solomon taking up tens of dozens of wives, and then I tell you that that must justify anyone who then claims that that text is referenced to or is presented to be a defense of their actions, you would tell me that is unjustified. You would tell me that is not the correct reading of the scripture.
Have you even read it? I really don't think you read it. Because God curses Solomon for the wives. And then he says, if you do what he did, I will curse you too. Nowhere does it say that we're supposed to do that. But you're supposed to do what your guy did. That's what.
The claim that she was 6 at marriage and 9 at consummation. Except what they don't tell you is that the source who provided that recollection is not seen as concretely reliable, that the author of one of the earliest and most revered collections of hadith in Islamic law, Imam Malik, did not accept this narrator's report, and that various reconstructions, including from the Yaqeen Institute, put her age as far, far older. English common law, however, set the age of consent at 12 until 1875. Canon law permitted marriage from puberty. The marriage practices Mr. Robinson is condemn the whole of pre-modern civilization, including Christian Europe, if we were to take his arguments at their highest tonight.
If that's even remotely true, why do we have clips like this?
You can marry whomever you want to marry, so long as it doesn't cause them harm, physical and psychological. And once again, pedophilia is very relative.
so very relative, you know? So very relative, chum.